37-32 the final here from Sun Devil Stadium on Saturday night. ASU falls to Washington State. It was a great comeback. They made it interesting down the stretch but couldn't come up with the win. That's Chris Karpman from the Sun Devil Source. I'm Jared Cohen, Sports 360 AZ. Let's get started here in injuries. I mean, the last time we talked on this field, it was a couple weeks ago, and they had a big win against UCLA, but the injuries were prevalent then. Still very prevalent now. They lost some key pieces again tonight. It's just kind of crazy what this team has had to deal with over the course of the season.
Yeah, so of course going in, they were without Brady White, suffered a foot injury. Then they were without Rice Perkins, of course. Manny Wilkins was hobbled. He's been hobbled for 3 weeks now. Tried to play, then he got a third injury. He already had an ankle injury, he had a toe injury, and now he hurt his arm, shoulder area. In my 25 years of being around the program, I haven't seen ASU have to go to a fourth quarterback. And then to make matters worse, they have serious injury problems on the defense. Of course, Christian Sam, who was their second leading tackler last year, hasn't played since NAU. Salamo Fizo, the team's other top inside linebacker, was hurt, left knee injury. They were testing it. He was leaving on crutches. And then Armand Perry, who's one of their top defensive players, especially in the secondary, he wasn't able to play due to turf toe. And there's a few others that we're not even getting to. So they've been decimated really by injuries, Jared.
You mentioned the quarterbacks, and I have a lot of trouble believing when Coach Graham recruited Jack Smith, who was committed to NAU, he walks on at ASU as a safety, that a few months later he would be throwing a 40-yard bomb down the field. It's awesome for Jack. I'm really excited for him, but it's kind of a microcosm of where the quarterback situation has ended up this season.
Well, he's now the fifth player to throw a pass for ASU this season, because you had Jalen Harvey, another receiver, throw a pass on a trick play. Of course, it looks like Jack Smith probably has the top passer rating probably on the team at this juncture, because he had the completed pass off a trick play. They had to bring out all of their trick type things in this game. They had 2 trick plays out of the Sparky formation. One was a 2-point conversion that they successfully converted. They needed a Tim White punt return, his first return of the season, for a touchdown, and that was just to give them a chance, but they just didn't have enough juice on the offensive side of the ball.
They were up early. Then Washington State returns a kickoff for a touchdown. It was after a big Kalen Ballage Sparky formation touchdown. Then they kind of claw their way back into it. What were you seeing that they were doing defensively and even offensively as they started to work their way back into the game? And of course, the Tim White punt return certainly helped.
Well, they dialed up the pressure pretty significantly. They had 7 sacks. Karan Crump had his best game by far of his Sun Devil career, and this is his first year. DJ Calhoun was blitzing very aggressively with a lot of purpose early on. I think Marcus Ball continued to have a really good game. He's really, in the last few weeks since they moved him from Spur to Bandit, played much better. They just didn't have enough coverage consistency, because there was breakdowns by Kareem Orr, by Deshaun Hayes on big touchdown plays. Those are the things that have been a problem for them, because they're last nationally in passing defense. They did better, but not good enough in this game.
Really quick before we wrap things up, why is Luke Falk not talked about more than he is? I mean, we're talking ASU here, but Washington State came out and we got to see Luke Falk at his best. Why isn't he talked about more nationally, even on the West Coast?
Personally, I think he's better than Davis Webb, who a lot of people talk about at Cal as being a top 5 type of a draft pick. And maybe it's because he's Washington State and people kind of tend to overlook Washington State in general. You shouldn't, though. This team is 4-0 in the North. Like, when has Washington State ever done that in the Pac-12 to start? You have to go back to like when Price was there, 30 years ago. Since they've had a start like this. And they're now 10-3 in their last 13 games in the Pac-12. He's a phenomenal quarterback. His accuracy was just incredible tonight.
And finally, to wrap it up, ASU heads to Autzen next week. They go to Oregon. Haven't been to Autzen in quite a few years. They're struggling. They're reeling this season, but it's never an easy place to play. This is a crucial game down the stretch as we get into close to November here for ASU coming up next week.
Yeah, they've lost 2 straight now. They've tended to rebound off of tough losses in the past, but the injuries are really plaguing them. They're still not bowl eligible. They got to try to win at least one more game. I think they have a chance to win a couple games because Oregon's defense is really bad. They got a decent chance to beat Utah at home, and then Arizona on the road is also a winnable game as well.
That's Chris Karpman. I'm Jared Cohen. Again, ASU falls to Washington State here Saturday night from Sun Devil Stadium.